Okay.
We have about how many people do we have so far?
22.
22, and almost 180 people registered. So I don't know if we should give it a minute or two before we start officially. I would really like us to finish exactly on the 1 hour mark. But
Maybe we can wait for 1 minute and then we just get started. So we don't.
okay, that's fine. That's fine. Whilst we wait a little, housekeeping rules, please, if you are not talking, please try to mute your video and your microphone. We are trying to avoid as much noise and distortion as much as possible. So please bear with us. And if you are not talking, just mute your microphone and your video for us. The way the structure is that we'll do a bit of introduction first, and then I would invite Joyce to talk a bit more about Esquire and the features, and then I would invite both Victor and Joyce to do live demos on some of the features of Esquire for us, and then we'll open up for Q&A. So there's going to be time for questions at the end. We've allocated a huge portion of the time towards Q&A. So we'll do a bit of just intros, brief descriptions of the features and a live demo of the features, and then we can move forward. Okay, let's give it a minute and then we can start officially. Okay, it's 10 minutes past the allocated time. I think we can start. So a bit of introduction. My name is Bonsra. I'm a lawyer. I previously worked at AB and David Africa, and I'm currently the head of legal and compliance at Pharmaline, which is an agtech company based in Ghana, Ivory Coast, and Benin. I've been a law student before. I've been a law intern before. I've worked in a law firm. I've been a teaching and research assistant, and I'm currently working in-house. So I think I have a bit of every aspect of the legal sphere in me. And one of the major challenges I've always had in all of these roles is legal research in Ghana. And today we have George and Victor to tell us about Esquire, which is an innovative legal research tool that uses artificial intelligence and machine learning and which most importantly is tailored specifically towards the Ghanaian legal space. So I'll let George and Victor introduce themselves and then we'll kick the ball rolling. George, can you go first?
Okay, sure. Hi everyone. So I'm Jojo. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of Kwame AI, and yeah. So my area of expertise is in AI. So I have a PhD in AI, which was useful in helping us build this AI legal assistant.
Victor.
Oh, yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Victor. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Kwame AI. And yeah, George and I have been very eager to apply technology to solving problems. Starting off in Africa, and we decided to tackle this problem of legal research in AI, legal research in Ghana, and that's what led us to start Kwame AI and Eskwai in particular. Yeah.
Okay, great. Please, for the participants, kindly note your questions again. We've allocated a huge chunk of the time towards Q&A and we'll ask them at the end. I would invite Jojo to talk briefly about Kwame AI and especially about Esquire, how it started the journey so far, what Esquire does, a bit of the features. Jojo.
Okay. I think I'll just focus mostly on Esquire for this call. Maybe just a quick question. Can you show by hand if you've used ChatGPT in some aspects of your legal research? So if you can just show by hand on Zoom, just a quick poll. Okay. We have a number of hands. Okay. All right, cool. So I'm not sure if okay, I think we can put the hands down. I'm not sure if any of you saw in the news, but I think a few months ago, there was a lawyer in the US who got into trouble because he used ChatGPT for his legal research, and he got fictional cases which he then submitted, and then I think he got into trouble for that. So one of the issues with ChatGPT, in terms of using it for legal research, is the fact that well, it has the potential to make up a lot of stuff. It's not adequate as a research tool because it just generates text, right? And it doesn't also have some kind of database to retrieve from, because it's just, just generates text based on your query or prompt. So that's one limitation with a tool like this that is so popular. So one of the gaps that we are filling with Esquire is making it possible to get cases and answers which are grounded in truth, and importantly, making sure that we have cases from Ghana to use to provide answers. So on a high level, Esquire is basically this AI legal assistant that takes in queries or questions and then provides answers based on cases that we've curated. So basically how it works is that when you put in a query, first and foremost, we go through our database of cases. So right now we have cases from Ghana, and then we retrieve all the cases that are relevant to your query first. And then we use one of these generative AI tools to then provide a direct answer to your question. And so by doing that, we make sure that all our answers are grounded in real cases and not fictional cases. Additionally, even when we provide you the answer, we also provide the passage that was used to provide the answer, and also the option for you to view that passage within the case in full, so that you can actually verify yourself, so that you are not using cases that are made up. Furthermore, we know that lawyers, I guess generally researchers, I mean, I'm also a researcher, I'm not in the legal space, but in the scientific world, we use keyword search a lot to try to find relevant documents. And the great thing with Esquire is that you don't need to use keywords. You just need to type your query like you would as though you were talking to a human being, another human being. And then our AI system is able to infer the the meaning of your text, right? And then pull up the relevant cases for you. So no need for all those keywords anyway. No need to figure out the exact keywords. You just type in your query like you would talking to a human being, and Esquire would be able to pull up the relevant cases for you. So at a high level, this is about Esquire, and then I'll hand over to Victor so that we go through a live demo of the system, and then we'll hand over for questions from the group.
Jojo, can you tell us about the features? I know there are three main features. Yes, you'll just mention them, and then once we do the live demo to mix. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So we have three main features for Esquire. So Ask Kwame. So Ask Kwame enables you to put in a query, and then you get direct answers instantly based on cases. So right now it's just based on cases, but in the future we'll also include statutes. So that's for Ask Kwame. And then we have Smart Search. So Smart Search enables you to basically type in a let's say you're looking for some kind of legal principle, you can just type it in natural language. You don't need keywords, and then we return to you 20 top cases that are relevant to the, for example, legal principle you're trying to find, and then you can read it in full. And then title search enables you to enter the title of a case that you're looking for, and then our system pulls up the case that matches that for you. So these are the three main features that we have.
Okay, so Ask Kwame, Smart Search, and then Title Search. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Victor, can you take us through a live demo of those three features?
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
seeing a
Okay.
poll.
Yeah, exactly. So before we dive
Okay.
into the live demos, I just want to have a sense of who's in the audience. So we won't do a live poll. You just type in, okay, people already, just go to slido.com and enter the code there, 3969497, and you can already start filling in the poll. So we just want to have a sense of who's in the audience.
Victor, there are also some judges and magistrates on the call with us, but they are not showing. So
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
well, what did they choose?
Sorry, you guys. Sorry, you had to
They can choose
forgive us. We
senior
didn't
counsel.
include an option for judges and magistrates.
If you're a judge or magistrate, please choose senior counsel just for the purpose of this.
Just for the purpose of this poll. So I just give it an additional minute for the poll. We currently have 4 people who have completed it. So all you need to go, just type in slido.com in your browser, and then you'll be asked to enter a code. The code for this poll is 3969497, and then just complete the poll. Okay. Okay, so as it's actually
let's give it about a minute more.
Exactly. So we have okay, mostly junior council so far. Okay, all students coming up. Interesting. Right. Yeah, okay. Quite a diverse audience here. Mostly law students and junior councils, I see. Okay. And then all right. So I'm gonna go, since we are yet to talk about AI legal research tools, they don't have a sense of which aspects of your practice or study that you feel you best have need of a legal AI research tool. So this is second poll. It's the same at the same link right now. The question should have changed. So can you please enter your selections for this poll as well? Which aspects of your practice or study would you wish you had the assistance of a legal tech tool or software?
Now, can we choose multiple? For some of us,
no, I think it's it's only one option. So please go for the most
okay.
I guess the most pressing, the most pressing. Okay. So case law research seems to be the strong contender here. All right. Okay. I guess, yeah, it's quite clear. All right. So we have a really diverse mix, mostly law students and junior counsels, and then also seems like most people feel like case law research is the most pressing need. Okay. So that's good because that's one area that for now Esquire really excels at. So I'm just going to jump right into the demos. So like George said, there are three main features that we currently have. Once you go to esquire.kwame.ai, that's the website, esquire.kwame.ai, and you sign up or sign in if you already have an account. You come to this landing page, which speaks about our three features. So we have Ask Kwame, we have Smart Search and Title Search, like George said. And I'm just going to start off right away with Ask Kwame. Right. So Ask Kwame allows you to basically ask a straightforward question and then get an instant answer based currently on the content that we've curated. So right now we have curated content of previous cases in Ghana. So that's what we have right now. You can see in the subject here. So right now it's limited to case laws in Ghana. However, we're working to include both statutes in very soon. So right now you have case laws and
Victor,
you
the
can
case
type in
law,
your
is
question.
there, Victor, sorry, is there
Yeah.
from which year to which year in the database?
So it's really wide. I mean, it's as far back as the First Republic to date. So it's
Okay,
yeah, it's
so
like
from
from
1957 coming.
exactly, and we do have a
Okay.
few colonial era cases as well.
Okay.
So it's
Okay,
truly
that's
quite
fine.
wide.
Do we have some 2023 cases?
We have them, but they aren't yet in the database. So
Okay.
hopefully by the end of this month, we should have 23 cases on the
But we have
website.
2022.
Yeah, we do have 22.
Okay, all right, perfect. Please continue.
Yeah, so you can come to Ask Kwame and then you can type in a question. So let me just start with one of our placeholder questions. What are the principles of an injunction? Yeah. Oh, I missed an S, but that's fine. Right. So like George said, we always provide our answers based on our answers are always grounded in actual cases, right? So you have what we call a headline answer that is generated for you. So like we have here, the principles of an injunction, you guys can already see and read. Not to spend too much time on that. So you already have a high level headline answer, which is generated. And in addition to that, we provide the cases from which this answer was generated, right? So those, we provide 5 cases from which the answer was provided. So those cases are displayed at the bottom here. And you will have the case title and the court, the year as well. And if you want to view the particular section in that case that was used to provide the answer, it's also provided as a snippet here. And if you want to view the actual document in full, you can click on View File, and that opens up the case and highlights the section that was used to provide the answer for you. So you don't have to go through the case. It just automatically scrolls to that particular section, so you can see where exactly that snippet comes from, right? And yeah, if you want to see more information about the case in particular, like the court, the parties involved, all of that, the councils, it's all provided in this info box, which is on top here as well. Yeah, and then in order to help us to improve our AI system over time, we also include this rating box, which allows you to provide feedback on whether the answer was helpful or not. So that's there. So essentially, this is how the workflow for Ask Kwame works. You just type in a question, you get a headline answer, and then you also have 5 passages from which the answer was provided. So like George said, because we want to ensure that our answers are grounded in truth, if you ask a question for which the system can provide a good enough answer, you get a response that says that you can't get an answer. However, the cases that Kwame is able to pull up, which are most related to your query, will still be shown at the bottom here, so that you can go through those cases yourself to see if you can find something helpful in providing the answer. So even if you don't get a headline answer, you always get the 5 supporting cases, which so far in running Esquire so far, we've noticed that a lot of users tend to go through these supporting answers, even if the answers are not helpful, and they end up finding useful information in there. So on a very high level, that's how Ask Kwame works. I just want to take this opportunity to just highlight a few things with Ask Kwame. So in order to get the most out of Ask Kwame, it's helpful to phrase your query as a question, right? So you could come and say principle of an injunction, right? Or something like the principle of an injunction. But in order to get the best kind of answer, it's always useful to frame it as a question. So like, framing your query as a question always helps to get like the best kinds of answers. I'll give another example. So we have FAQs that can help. So for instance, if you want to ask like, and the more specific your query is, the more useful the answers are. So for instance, you could ask a general query like, what are the principles for setting aside a writ? But a more specific query could be, for instance, what errors in a writ can cause a judge to rule that it is irregular or it is defective, right? So the more specific your query is, the more useful the answer you get is. And then also, in terms of like just putting high level queries, like you could just come and type Hart and Jeremy Bentham. You would get cases, but in order to get a very good answer, because Ask Kwame is to provide answers, it's better to frame it as a question. So instance, you could say like, what makes Hart different from Jeremy Bentham? Or maybe what are the differences in their approach? So framing your query as a question rather than just a phrase helps you to get better answers. Another example would be like just typing in human trafficking. And then rather than saying maybe what is the position of the law on human trafficking, or what is the law on human trafficking, for instance. So I'll just use this last one as an example, and then come back to this. So I'm going to type in human trafficking. So in this case, since it's not a specific query, you still get a case which talks about this, right? But because it isn't really a question, you don't have a direct answer to your question. You have a response, but it's not really that useful. Whereas if you were to frame it as maybe what is the law on human trafficking, for instance, this time around you will have an answer which is okay. So good. This is an example of instances where you don't have a specific answer to the question, like George said. So what we do is, unlike ChatGPT, we will not provide you an answer because we can't get a concise answer to this question, right? So that's one. This is a good example of showing like how we don't provide an answer unless we are sure that we have an answer in the system that can help with a query. And also, currently, Ask Kwame is focused on providing answers from the cases. So it can't provide you summaries yet. It's something that it's on our roadmap to work on. So for instance, if you were to come and ask like, give me a summary of Doshi versus the state, or give me a summary of a certain case, you won't really get a good answer right now. It's something we're working on. So what you have to do is we are providing summaries in the case documents that you can open and view. But right now, if you were to type it directly in Ask Kwame, you wouldn't get a summary as an answer. Another thing is if you ask questions about a specific case. So Ask Kwame scans through the thousands of case documents that we have in our database to provide an answer. So if you ask a question about a specific case, you wouldn't have a really great answer because it's going to scan through all the documents, and any other case that references that particular case will be pulled up. So you wouldn't have a very good answer to that specific case. So that's just like a caveat also. And then another thing that we've noticed very frequently is that users tend to like type in the case that they want to read. So I'm jumping the gun because of this, but we find that like users tend to ask like Republic versus Quasin or Martin Cable versus the Attorney General because they want to read that case. And that is where we have title search for. So title search is when you have a case in mind and you want to read that case. So the best place to type in something like this is on title search. So if you do that right now on Ask Kwame, you really get a good answer because Ask Kwame is not to retrieve the case for you. Okay, so and also right now Ask Kwame doesn't really write reports. So we also noticed a lot that especially from our law students, and not too surprising, they tend to ask like maybe write a report on a certain a certain it seems to be like assignments that they have. So if you were to ask Kwame to write a report on something, you wouldn't have a good answer. But if you were to frame the question, so if you were to break down the assignment into specific things, like instead of asking write a report on it's a personal guarantee, a negotiable instrument, maybe you could ask what's the negotiable instrument? So you can split the assignment into smaller chunks and you'd get answers for those. But if you were to ask for a complete report up front right now, you won't get a very good answer. So I'm just highlighting some of the current limitations of Ask Kwame and the best places to go to for other stuff. So since I already spoke about the title search stuff, I just head right to title search. So title search allows you to find a case that you know. So you know a specific case and you want to read the case. The place to go is title search and not Ask Kwame. So you just click on title search and you can type in the case that you want to find, and then it searches to find all the cases that are related to that query. So binding will pull up all related binding cases here. And if you want to read the case, you just click on view file and it will open up the case for you to read the full case. So it's quite straightforward for title search. You know a case, you want to read the case, you just go to title search and type in the case, a title, and it'll pull out the case for you. So it's quite straightforward. And then the final feature we have is smart search. So smart search allows you to search within the content of cases for specific facts, issues, or legal principles that you are interested in. So this is, like George said, where we use semantic search rather than keyword search. So keyword search is the most common search feature you have on most legal research tools. And what that means is that if you were to type, for instance, injunction, it's going to scan all the cases that have that specific word injunction. However, if there were another word which is similar to injunction but not specifically injunction, that word will not be flagged as a hit. But what semantic search does is that it searches through for words that have a similar meaning. So it's looking for the meaning of a word that you search and finding words or paragraphs or sections in all of the cases that are related to that. So that allows you to find a better match, because when you're looking for stuff, you want to find things that are related to that thing and not just finding the explicit words. There are times that you want to find the specific keywords, but semantic search allows you to get more relevant hits. So an example could be, let's say, presumption of correctness. Yeah. And then what this does, it's going to pull up, currently we supply 20 hits. So the 20 hits that are most related to presumption of correctness across all of the cases in our database. And in order to allow you to find exactly what you want, sometimes you want to filter maybe by the courts. So you want to see maybe all Supreme Court cases. You can filter out Supreme Court cases. Yeah, so you can filter by the courts, or you can also sort the cases based on um, you can also sort the cases based on the either the court, so either arranging according to the court or by the relevance score. So the relevance score is a score that our AI system assigns to tell you how related the hit is to your query. So by default, all of our answers are sorted by relevance score. So the score, as you can see down here, shows you that this is the most highly relevant hits to this query. And similar to the Ask Kwame section, you can click to view this snippet, and that shows you. So you can see that presumption of correctness is not explicitly stated in this section, right? However, if you read it, you would understand that there's a sense of presumption of correctness in the section. So this is what um, the semantic set allows us to do. It's not looking for explicitly presumption of correctness, but then the meaning that is related to presumption of correctness. And then you can always view in the source document. So this would show up in the document, a particular section that is relevant to the hits. So it's always highlighted in the case. So this particular set, there are 2 hits in this document that are related to it. So you see here, they are nicely highlighted for you, so you don't have to scan through the document to find the hits. And as always, we ask for feedback to help with improving our machine learning model to make sure that we are providing the best answers, as always. So on a very high level, these are the 3 features that we have. I think we would I'll stop here so that we can go into the quick Q&As, so that we can address the questions that you may have concerning Esquire and our features. Roger.
Okay, Victor. Thank you so much. That was very, very detailed. And I mean, judging from the polls we did, the majority of us are young lawyers, and majority of us really need a tool like this for their case law research. Personally, there have been several times that it's happened to myself or a friend I know. Somebody will just call you, Charlie, I need a case to support this principle. Do you know of any? And I'm like, well, maybe I remember reading a case like that, but at the moment I'm tight. I can't sit down and find the exact case title for you. Or sometimes you're on your feet in court and you just need a case to support a principle and you are left fumbling. I mean, I think something like Esquire, which is on the go on your smartphones, you can easily just type it in, is going to be extremely, extremely important. So just to summarize the 3 features, Ask Kwame is, if I understood, essentially sort of like a general conversational way to get answers to law questions, more like a chat GPT for Ghanaian legal professionals, so to speak, just a back and forth natural language conversation. And then title search is when you know the exact case you are looking for and you want to see maybe a certain principle or a particular portion of the case, or where maybe you want to even read a full case, you use title search. And then smart search is when maybe you are a bit unsure, but you know a principle and you just key it in and you let Esquire use its own advanced machine learning algorithms to give you the relevant answers. Perfect. One thing, I mean, the workaround you give for the law students, I'm sure the law lecturers will not be happy at all. So, okay.
Yeah, it's
So,
interesting.
yeah, I mean, that's going to be one of the concerns, I'm sure. So let's just dive into the Q&A. I have a few questions that, I mean, myself, as a lawyer, as an academic, somebody who's working in-house, who has worked in law firms before, who has been an intern, who has been a law student. I mean, I have a fair idea some of the major questions that majority of the participants are going to have. So let me just delve right into it. So my questions are, I guess, in three areas. One, in accuracy, two, pricing, and three, security. So in terms of accuracy, like you mentioned, like Jojo mentioned, there are instances where ChatGPT will concoct a case with full citations and things like that. And other lawyers have relied on it and suffered grave consequences, legal and financial. And of course, the legal profession is also a bit skeptical when it comes to innovative legal tech tools such as this. So I guess my first question, and the first question that most legal professionals will have is, how can I trust that the answer I'll get from Esquire is one, correct or accurate, and two, is relevant to what I'm looking for? That's the first question. I think if you can answer that, then my next question will come. I think that would be the best. So the major question is correctness, accuracy, and relevance. How does Esquire stand out for Ghanaian legal professionals?
Okay, so the core of our technology is the fact that we always try to provide answers based on cases in our database. So that's like the first part of our whole system, where we first retrieve cases. Yeah, we first retrieve relevant cases, and for the relevance, we look at how similar your query is to the content of the cases. So that's how we kind of compute in relevance to make sure that the cases are always relevant. And so that's also why we also provide the relevance score, because sometimes it could be not so relevant. And so you can use that relevance score to also judge and also look at it yourself. And yeah, so in terms of the answers that we give, we do a lot of prompt engineering to ensure that we steer the system to always give the answer based on the cases that we've retrieved. Nonetheless, there's sort of caveats where you should obviously always cross-check to make sure, right, that it does match, which is why we always provide the passage as part of the the 5 cases that we provide the passage so that you can read it quickly. And we also highlight it in the full case so that you can also see the context. So we're giving you multiple layers for you to easily and quickly also verify whether or not the headline answer you're getting makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's perfect. My next question would be, of course, what many people will be concerned about: pricing. How is the pricing structured? How affordable is Esquire, at least as compared to the competition or other innovative legal tech tools in this field?
Yeah,
Victor,
so
can you answer that? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So so currently Eskwai is live with 3 plans. So there's a free plan which allows you to basically try it out and have a view for the system, which costs nothing. And with that you get 5 queries on Ask Kwame and 10 queries each on Smart Search and Titles each month. So that's free. And then we have a student plan, which is subsidized at half the price of the regular. So that's 40 cedis a month. And that allows you to have 50 Ask Kwame queries and then 100 queries each for Smart Search and Title Search. And then finally, for lawyers and I guess for professionals, we have like the standard plan, which is 80 cedis. And that gives you it's exactly the same as students have. So it's 50 Ask Kwame queries and 100 queries each for Smart Search and Title Search. Yeah, so this is like a monthly plan that you can pay for either with a credit card or with mobile money. Yeah.
Just a
Okay.
quick correction.
Sure.
Title search is unlimited.
Sorry, yeah, I missed that. Yeah, so it's only limited on the free plan, but then
Free plan.
with student and standard, you have unlimited title search query.
Okay. So when I was doing the publicity for this webinar, I posted Esquire for people to try out for free prior to the webinar. And I already had a number of people entering my DMs and asking questions, especially in respect of the limits on the free plan and then the standard plan. Somebody was like, well, for the free plan, 5 queries for Ask Kwame, he can exhaust that in like a 5-minute sitting. Because if a senior in the office is on him and giving him pressure, in 3 minutes, he's already exhausted his monthly limit on the free plan. And then the standard plan, to some were of the opinion that, 80 CDs, which is double the student plan, and they basically have the same limits as the student plan. Some were of the opinion that maybe 80 CDs for the standard plan could have gone a bit higher on the limits. I don't know if you have any feedback on that, because I'm sure it's going to come if we open the Q&A.
Oh, interesting. This is the first time I'm hearing that. So basically, what is happening is that so it's really like we are offering the standard plan to students at a subsidized price. So that it's not like the student plan has been it's not like we are pricing the student plan higher for lawyers. It's the other way around. It's like the standard plan is the standard, but we are offering it at a discounted price to students. So that's kind of how it is. As to changing of the limits, for now, it's going to remain in place because these are based on, for instance, all of the back-end technology that we need to ensure that we provide all of these. However, like you notice that they are more, you have a higher quota for smart search than Ask Kwame. And the reason is because in order to provide an Ask Kwame answer, you get, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in our system to provide that headline answer. But if you were to ask, you can get the same cases by asking the same query on Smart Search because it's the same technology that retrieves the related passages, right? So for now, the quotas are fixed, but then in terms of optimizing your usage of the system, unless you really need a direct answer, you can make the same query on Smart Search, right? So that's just like an insider tip of how to optimize the use of the system. Unless you really need a headline answer, you can use Smart Search and you get the related passages and cases for the query that you make.
And maybe just to add, I can add so the idea of the free plan is to just, give you a sense of how well the system works so that you can decide whether or not it's like worth it for you. Not, so not to necessarily use it so much throughout the whole month. So that's, I guess, the idea of the free plan. And also maybe just to add on the limits, so these limits are kind of based on cost estimates for running the system. So as you know, this an AI system that we are running, and it costs to run these systems. So that's kind of one of the the motivations for these coders and these limits. So kind of so that's kind of the reasoning for that. Would have higher plans with more queries soon, and so maybe just to kind of address that concern of the limits.
Okay, perfect. I already tested the platform, and one thing I really liked is your first payment is always prorated based on the time of the month you are subscribing, and then the subsequent ones, the payment starts on the first of each month, which is like when your salary has hit your account, so you shouldn't really feel the shocks. But the student plan, is there a verification process to know who is a student?
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously, you see, you're getting a lot of value with a student plan. So we need to, we put inside a safeguard to ensure that you're really a student to get access to it. So, when you come to our platform and you try to get access to the student plan, you will get this notice which requires that you should provide either screenshots of your ID card or your admission letter, which we will check and before we verify you to have access to the student plan. So that's just a heads up. In order to get access to the student plan, you need to go through this verification process. And then once we verify you on the back end, we will basically make you eligible for the student plan for the entire duration of your studies. So either for your undergrad or postgraduate studies, you'll be verified for the duration of that period. And then you have access to Esquire at that discounted price throughout your studies. Yep. So you just be asked to either upload the student ID card or your admission letter, and then we verify you, and you have access to it.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I saw in the student plan the notice that this is not applicable to lecturers and faculty, so I guess they will be on the standard plan.
Yeah, exactly.
The last statement.
Yeah, lecturers and faculty are not eligible for student plans. It's not for academic,
So
it's for students only.
Is there other plans in the works to allow for groups or corporate institutions, like if my whole law firm wants to buy a subscription, or if an academic institution wants to buy a subscription for its faculty? Are there plans like that?
Exactly. So we're soon going to be rolling out a firm plan, which I would allow you to essentially create a firm account and open it up to all the lawyers in your firm. So all of them are signed up under that firm, and that firm account will be built. So we're soon going to launch a firm account, and basically what's going to happen is that you would have you can add as many members as possible to your firm. There's no limit on the seats, but the limit will be on the quota. So essentially, you have you'll be buying a bulk quota for your whole firm, and so there's no limit in terms of passwords, numbers of you. Everybody in the firm can sign up. The limit is on the quota, so it's essentially something that the whole firm can use. And in terms of the students, we would soon. So we're already having discussions with school administrators and executives for students associations to roll out bulk subscription plans for students as well. So just watch out; those will be rolling out pretty soon. Yeah.
Okay. I have two more questions on the pricing and the billing. One, are there plans to allow, I don't know, maybe a subsidized version for those in some public groups, such as judges and magistrates, those who work in legal aid, those who do other public interest lawyering? Are there plans like that?
Yeah, you want to take it?
Not yet, but yeah, we've been looking into definitely trying to come up with some kind of subsidized or discounted pricing for especially folks that do legal aid work. I'm still working on that. We don't have a concrete thing yet, but yeah, definitely looking into some kind of subsidized pricing or pricing for them. Yeah.
Okay, I personally, I think that would be super helpful as together with the corporate or institution subscription. Because if I know most lawyers, especially those who work in law firm or have worked in law firm before, they would really prefer their law firm to buy the subscription and then they use it. So I'm sure many lawyers will be on the lookout for that. My last question is, so I'm on a standard plan, for example. I have my limits. I have a number of cases coming up this week, so I'm using Esquire a lot. And I've exhausted my 100 queries or 50 queries on Esquire, my 100 on Smart Search. But the month still isn't over and there's no higher plan for me to subscribe to. What happens if on the 20th I've exhausted my limits and there's still 10 more days to go? What do I do then?
So we have what we call a top-up package, which costs 20 cedis. So you can basically top up essentially your account until the month until the next month begins and your quotas are reloaded. But I mean, pretty soon we're going to launch the higher tiers, which would have larger quotas, and that will come out with the firm subscriptions as well. So that will be coming out soon. But right now, if you exhaust your quotas, you can use what we call like a top-up package, just bridge like up until, which costs 20 cities until the next month.
Okay, that's perfect. I think I'll open the floor now for Q&A from the audience. If you have a question, just raise your hands and then I'll call you. The floor is open now for questions. If you have any questions or you've tested Esquire before and you have any concerns, just kindly raise your hands and we'll mute you and you can ask your question. Any questions? Okay, so Anne says,
Okay.
please, I tried signing up, but I'm unable to create the account. I believe there's a customer service email, support@Kwame.ai, that you can email with your specific challenges, and then the guys would easily get back to you very fast and help resolve all challenges you're having. So support@Kwame.ai. Yeah. Perfect. It's in the chat box. So support@Kwame.ai. If you're having any sign-up challenges or any technical challenges, are there any other questions? You can raise your hand and we will mute you so you can ask.
Yes, some people would prefer to type in the chat. But yeah,
Okay.
anyhow.
We are still taking questions. Is the free version available to anyone, including the layman? I don't know who a layman is, but I'm guessing somebody who isn't a legal professional. I don't see why not. Victor?
Exactly. It's open to anyone. You just create an account, you have access to the free plan. So it's all you need is your email address, basically. So it's open to anyone.
And by the way, it's not just the free version, the paid version too is open to anyone. If you're a student and you are doing chemical engineering and you have some legal questions, I think you can still sign up for the student version. Yeah. Any more questions? We are still taking questions. Okay. Please, will there be a yearly package in the future? Oh, that's a very, very good question. I like yearly subscription, annual subscriptions. So are there plans for something like that?
Interesting. So yeah, actually we plan to set up a yearly subscription that will be slightly discounted to encourage people to pay upfront. So yeah, that is something in the works that we will launch soon. So you can basically pay for the whole 12 months ahead. Yeah. And that will especially be for the law firm packages.
Oh, but some individual lawyers too are very, very rich. So don't forget to add, open it up. Please, can there be a rollover of the limit? Oh, okay, interesting. So I have 100 searches. I've only used 20 for this month. Can my other 80 be rolled over? So next month I have 180.
No, so the limits are for each month, they don't accumulate. However, if you purchase a top-up package, that carries over to the next month. So the regular monthly limits don't roll over. So you have to use them within the month. However, if you were to purchase a top-up package, that rolls over to the next cycle. So yeah.
That reminds me of another question. Can there be a one-off purchase?
How do you mean by one-off?
Okay, so let's say I'm a law lecturer, for example. I'm writing a paper, so I only need to access Esquire for this month. Can I purchase a one-off purchase? So there's no monthly, because
I see.
especially if you're a law lecturer or you are working in-house, the nature of your work is sort of seasonal. So it's not always every month that you need.
Okay, so what happens is, like you said, at the time that you are subscribing, we offer you a prorated pricing. So I think I can demonstrate that. Yeah, if you come, we prorate the price at the time you are subscribing to. Let me just try and think of that. Right. So the price that you would pay is prorated. So today we are like halfway through the month. So if you were to subscribe now, what you pay is just 40 cedis instead of 80 cedis. It's only in the next month that you pay the full 8. And you can always cancel your subscription at any time before the next month renews. So if you wanted to just use it for the month, you can just subscribe at any time in the month. And when you're done, just cancel. That's if you really don't want to renew. And then that's it. You won't be billed the next month. So if you just need it for just that period, just subscribe. When you're done, you can cancel the subscription and you won't be billed.
Okay, so Lady Cell, the answer on the rollover, for your normal monthly limits, they won't be rolled over. But if for some reason you had purchased a top up the previous month, let's say your 100 or your 50 limit got exhausted and you purchased a top up for the extra 20 cedis, that top up will be rolled over. But if you have just your normal regular limit, that one won't be rolled over. There's another question here that is, since Esquire is technically not speaking as a lawyer, how do you explain the ramifications for the advice it gives if a person acts based on that advice? Has Kwame AI issued a disclaimer in that regard for persons taking a decision or course of action based on the advice? So yes, the risk. Victor, I think there is a disclaimer.
Yeah, in the terms of service, yeah.
Yeah, in the terms of service, there's a disclaimer. In the terms of service, there's a disclaimer. Esquire is just a legal support tool that's meant to assist legal professionals and legal researchers with their research. It's not giving legal advice. I'm sure when you look in the terms of service, you see the full wording of the disclaimer. Another question here is, are there plans to permit a download of cases in PDF format, or for the title search, you can only read the cases?
So currently, oh, George, okay, you can just go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we plan to also have that. We just not gotten around to implementing that, but yeah, we plan to include that feature at some point. Yes.
Is there an app, or right now is that the web version?
Just a web version.
Are there plans to make it an app?
Not currently. I mean, the web version is really mobile friendly, so there really isn't a strong need to have a separate like Android or iOS app for it, at least not currently.
Okay, all right. Are there
I think
any more
somebody's hand is up,
questions?
Kasim, but maybe Kasim can be unmuted. Yeah. I see the hand is up, but
Yes, can you hear me, please?
yeah, we can.
Yes, my question has to do with citation, citing cases or research works from Esquire. I realized that on the cases that came up, the cases you pulled up, it was just the names of the parties. There was no year, like the year of report or the law report number or anything. So I want to know how cases from Esquire are cited, and if such citation is recognized by the authorities.
Victor, maybe you can pull up quickly. So we actually do have the regular, we have all the details in the, like when you click the additional information part, it shows all the details you just mentioned, including the relevant law report citation. Maybe Victor can show that quickly.
Yeah, also user history.
We don't have like our own citation system. It's just a regular one that we're using like from the law report.
Yeah. Okay, I can see.
Yeah. So you can see, right?
Yeah. But for cases that have been reported, we also provide the law report citation. So if it's a reported case, we will provide the law report citation. But if it's an unreported case, then we provide like the original suit number and yeah, the court basically.
Yeah, but you would have to click the additional information. You have to click for additional information. Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing participants can keep in mind too is Esquire is still relatively new, so your feedback would be really helpful in us developing a model that works for the Ghanaian legal professional. So when you test it out, when you use it, also when you use it, please be giving your feedback on the answers. There's a thumbs up. Was this helpful? There's a thumbs up, thumbs down. Just use those, and if it's a major issue you've noticed, you can always reach out to support@kwame.ai. There's a question. I'm not sure if this has been addressed, but I want to know if one can
Bonjour.
make. Yes.
Bonjour. Yeah, just quick.
Yes.
So in terms of feedback, we also have a feedback section where you can actually make requests. So if there's a particular feature that you feel is really pressing, you can just make a new feature request. You can report errors, bugs. If you want more content or cases, or you have complaints, or you just want to compliment us, we have a feedback section where you can actually give us more direct feedback. This is.
Okay. Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. The question is, can one make additional payments? Should one exhaust the limit within a month? Yes, we answered that, Lady Sir. You can make you can pay for top up for the rest of the month until your normal monthly reload at the beginning of the next month. And I think Victor mentioned the top up is 20 CDs per top up. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, all right. We can take a few more questions and then we would have to wrap up. Whilst we are waiting for questions, I mean, Jojo Victor, let me ask one last question. And it's essentially about the future of Esquire as you see it. I mean, I think when it comes to legal tech tools such as this, I mean, I think the most popular and the most advanced I've seen will be co-counsel by case text. And that it's already doing document review, contract analysis, case outcome prediction. It drafts legal research memos and it helps lawyers prepare for depositions and things like that. I know Esquire is in the initial young stages, but what's the future as you see it? We are still taking questions, so please raise your hand if you have questions.
I mean, so in terms of rolling out of features, we want to make sure that we use a very intentional approach so that the features we're rolling out are, features that are really key and needed by folks in the legal profession. So yeah, so I mean, some of the things you mentioned are things that we can actually include. But yeah, it'll take some time based on the feedback we receive in terms of what is needed. But yeah, definitely the features, Esquire being that AI legal assistant that lawyers the first go-to for different aspects of their legal work for sure. So that's what the future for Esquire looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
so yes, Victor, proceed, please.
Yeah, just to add, so like you said, I mean, we started out with focusing on legal research, but I mean, in speaking with lawyers, and we've been doing a lot of that, we realized that there's several other aspects of practice where there's definitely a need for legal research, for legal tech. So, like George said, we have plans to include things with document for review and contract drafting, which is important, for example, with like in-house counsel. So there's definitely a lot that we have lined up on
Thank
our roadmap.
you. We are waiting. With the in-house lawyers, we are waiting.
We're just being intentional and making sure that we are rolling it at a pace that we can sustain, and we don't put stuff out that would jeopardize the image of the product. So we're just being very intentional. Yeah.
Perfect. Someone is asking, what's the time frame between payment and activation? Is it instant, or is service available 24/7 or only on weekdays? I'm guessing with the student verification, that one will take some time, but yeah, okay. Can you answer
Exactly.
that?
So if you pay in terms of subscribing to a paid plan, it's instant. It's once you pay and the payment is confirmed, you immediately have access to it. The only wait is if you have to do the student verification, because once you upload the documents, our team members have to check the documents before you are verified for the student plan. So that takes a maximum of 3 days, and then within 3 days we'll let you know whether you're verified for the plan or if we need further information from you. However, whilst you're waiting within those 3 days, you can just use the free plan, or well, if you want to pay for standard, you can just pay for standard as a student. But within 3 days, you'll definitely be approved, and then you can just subscribe for the student plan.
And yes, so it's 24/7. You can use it any day, anytime. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we are 13 minutes past the closing limit of 1 hour. In the absence of any further questions, I think we can wrap up here. Personally, as I said in the beginning, as a lawyer, I totally understand the importance of legal tech tools such as Esquire. And I think it's amazing how the technology works, especially in respect of Ghanaian legal cases. When ChatGPT came, a couple of my friends tried using it, and the answers were not tailored towards the Ghanaian legal landscape. If you get your authority, it might be a foreign, maybe US, Canada, or UK authority. So to have a model trained specifically for Ghanaian lawyers is I'll say kudos to you guys. One feature I'm expecting to see is the integration of the statutes bit, because I mean, personally, as a general counsel, as an in-house lawyer, that's where my focus is. So I can't wait to have that introduced. But yeah, I think we can wrap up here. Victor, Jojo, are there any final comments before we wrap up?
Not from my end. Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah, I'll just take this opportunity to highlight, like Bonsha said, we really early, and we're trying to build something that really solves the problems of lawyers. So I'll be really open to feedback. If you have any feedback, suggestions, as soon as you sign up for our account, you can just hit the feedback option. You can make requests for features. You can complain about things that aren't working well. Like, please keep the feedback coming, and we really need it to build a tool that really works for you. Yeah.
And if you are a young lawyer who's joining and working in a law firm, please introduce this to your partners, to your senior associates. Lawyers who are more than 10 years at the bar, usually they have a bit of a challenge, trust issues with tools like this. So we are going to have to rely on you guys to walk them through it. I know the bulk of the legal research would ultimately be falling on you, but in terms of payments and taking on a tool like this, adopting a tool like this in your office, the decision is going to come from above. So please introduce Esquire to your partners and your senior associates, associate partners in the office. And then if they have any challenges, you can reach out to me if you have my contact, or you can reach out using the feedback. We can come to your office, meet your partners, and do a live demo and answer any question they have for them. We just want to create a tool that would be more convenient for lawyers, especially young lawyers who are always stressed doing the legal research, especially when you are writing a memo or legal opinion, written addresses or written submissions and things like that. So please, we are going to have to rely on to spread the word on Esquire. And as Victor mentioned, we are always open to feedback. We are always open to feedback. Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate your time and your patience. I appreciate the question. Victor and George, thank you for creating a tool like this and for taking time to walk us through how it works and how to leverage it to improve our legal research in the office. I think we can wrap up here. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I think we will share the link to a recorded version for those who were unable to join. So many people reached out to me that they were traveling on the road from the bar conference, so they can't join due to their network issues. And people are really on standby for the recorded version. So there should be something for those who join. Okay, all right. Lady, this one will be in Chambers. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Have a pleasant weekend. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.